Hi, I'm Kim Stevens here in the Fox 26 Newsroom, and we are preparing for the holidays. We've been doing stories about how people are trying to figure out how much they're going to spend, and they're really starting to get concerned about the money that they're going to be putting out for the holidays. But also be, mindful of it all. Really get the people that they are giving the gifts to something that those people want, and finding a good value when possible. Well, when we talk about, I was going to say children, but frankly, this next topic really could have quite the range in terms of gift givers. So let's talk about video games right now. And I'd like to bring Aubrey Quinn in because she is a senior vice president for the Entertainment Software Association. And as you can see from her background, she has some fun decor. We are talking video games for the holidays this year. Hi, Aubrey.
Hi, thanks for having me and happy holidays.
And thank you. I wasn't ready to say that to you yet, but I guess it's time.
I am.
So, yeah, I know. Thank you. No, it's time. So tell me, you did some research on how many, when you were asking people, what do you want for the holidays, or what's one of the number one gifts? What did you hear?
That's right. We partnered with Ipsos, a major research firm, to ask kids ages 10 through 17, what do you want as a holiday gift this year? And overwhelmingly, the number one item is video games or something related to video games. And that comes in ahead of money, gift cards, clothes and accessories, even other forms of electronics like phones, smartwatches. So if you're trying to figure out what to get the kid in your life this holiday season, chances are video games are a really safe bet.
Now, back in the olden days when my children were young enough in that age group, I could go and buy a video game and it was tactile. I could hold it, touch it, wrap it, of course. But now it seems like so many are digital. Can we still give a tactile gift and, wrap it and put it on the tree and such?
Yeah, you are right. Video games have changed a lot from when I played. Even my oldest son now is 21, when he first started playing games. But when we asked kids what they wanted when they say video games, the number one item is still a video game console. So if you don't yet have a Switch or an Xbox or PlayStation, that's what kids want the most. But there are also a lot of digital download games. So instead of having to buy the physical game, you can buy a download code that you install on a PC, a computer, or one of those consoles. Or within the games themselves, you can give in-game currency, which is essentially like a gift card that only works in that game. So find out from your kids if they have a favorite game, because you can buy accessories, you can buy clothes with characters on it, right? The same way of favorite TV shows or movies, musicians. But yes, physical games are still a thing. You can buy a console, you can buy a game, but more and more kids are playing with subscription passes, with in-game credits. And so look at those as well.
Now, as I know, my mom and my dad, well, it's really my mom.
Sure,
She
yeah.
wants to wrap something. She just doesn't even want to give a gift card. Just old school. So, how could I do that if I know that really it's a digital thing?
Okay, totally fair. I think a couple ways that I have approached it with my kids is to give them an accessory. So do we like headphones? Are we using headsets? Do we need special keyboards? Controllers are so cool now. They come in all different colorways, so you can figure out what your child's favorite color is and get a new controller or keyboard or a mouse or a headset. So there are a lot of accessories that make games even cooler. So if they already have the console that they like, the games that they like, and grandma really wants to wrap a present to put under a tree, then I say look at all those accessories or different, fashion items that have favorite characters or favorite games on them. So lots of options for those physical gifts.
Okay, love that idea. And, the other thing is that, back in the olden days also, geez, I've said that twice now.
We're not that old, Kim. We're not that old.
I know, Aubrey, I'm sorry. When video games first came out, they really seemed to be attracted toward boys and men, but that is not the case anymore.
It is not at all. And this is one of my favorite stereotypes to bust. Like, I want to disrupt this today once and for all. Just as many girls play video games as boys. And we see that the top generation that's logging in is Generation Alpha. So those are our kids 10 and under. 80% of them are playing regularly, and that is equal, boys and girls. So kids start playing games and think about other forms of entertainment in your life, movies, TV shows, music. You don't grow out of those things, right? You grow up with them and they're now a hobby that you love. They help you relax, they entertain you. Video games are the same way. So we see more and more that the young women who start playing games, this is a hobby they keep with them their whole life. And here's one of my favorite facts that I remind my husband, because our 11-year-old daughter's a big gamer. Girls who play video games are 3 times more likely than their peers to pursue a STEM degree, like pursue those really high-paying jobs. So your daughter's spending a lot of time on Sims like mine is. I promise it's a good thing.
Thank you for that. That's fantastic to know. Now, the other thing about these children, as young as that is, playing on a video game, how can parents be assured that they are playing safely and not some, scary person is getting in and,
Sure.
being a part of that?
Yeah, online can be intimidating and scary, for parents. As I mentioned, I have 3 kids. And the
Mhm.
same way I talk to my kids about talking to strangers at parks, at malls, in real life, parents just have to feel comfortable, first of all, having those conversations with their kids about interacting with strangers, both in the real world, but also in the virtual world. More importantly, if you are not ready yet for your kids to engage with strangers online, as I mentioned, I have an 11-year-old daughter. I am not ready for her to be talking to strangers online.
Mhm.
You can choose either single player games. There are lots of games where you play by yourself. The top selling game last year was Hogwarts Legacy. So if your kid's a big Harry Potter fan, that was a single player game. You can get that for them. They'll never even interact with anyone online. So that's option 1.
Okay.
2, and this is really important for parents to know, every device you can play video games on, so those 3 consoles I mentioned, but also tablets, mobile phones, have parental controls. And so you can put settings in place to make sure your kids are only playing games with age-appropriate content, to prevent them from spending money, and certainly to block or limit who they talk to online. So my 11-year-old daughter is allowed to play online with 2 people. And those are her big brothers who are across the country at college. And it's a really fun way for them to connect and engage, rather than them doing an awkward weekly phone call. They get
Mhm.
online and they play games together, and I can hear them laughing and building this fun relationship, even though they're 10 years apart in age. So I love that for her. But like some of your viewers are probably nervous about talking to strangers, I use parental controls to shut that down. She doesn't interact with anyone that mom doesn't say she can.
That is great, and quite a relief to hear that it sounds like it's pretty easy to do. You talked a little bit about girls playing video games and how that whole process can actually, expand their brain, help them train the brain, whatever, to STEM classes as they get older. So, will you talk about how video games are not always just you know, um, burning a child's brain, but actually enhancing it?
Yeah, I would say they're rarely, if ever, burning a child's brain. So let's set aside that stereotype too.
Yeah.
There's a growing body of academic, scientific research that's telling us not all screen time is equal, right? So think about passive consumption. You're watching a show, you're scrolling through a feed, you're not really engaging your brain. Video games, while designed to entertain and be fun, we are seeing and learning that the cognitive benefits are enormous. It's one of the reasons we see more and more older Americans and players logging into play, because there's so many brain benefits. So your kids may want to play because it's fun and it's cool and their friends are doing it. But the reality is they are learning resilience. They are learning strategy. And in many cases, they're doing math and reading. So there are all these hard educational skills that they're learning. One of my favorite studies that came out a few years ago says that kids who play video games learn how to learn. And so if, growing up, I got to watch 2 hours of cartoons every Saturday morning. I'd sit there and watch whatever animated show. In my house, my kids get to do 2 hours on Saturday of screen time. They often choose video games. And I see them creating worlds and problem solving and strategizing and figuring things out. And they are exercising their brains. And that's a really powerful thing. We see the benefits for kids, and we see the benefits for older players. You mentioned your mom earlier, and what do you give as a gift? 30% of the silent generation and nearly 50% of boomers play video games. And it may be on their mobile devices. It could be Wordle, Words with Friends, Candy Crush, but they are finding enormous cognitive, mental, social, and emotional benefits from playing games. And that's something we can all take advantage of.
Fantastic. We really need to get rid of those old myths. Is there anything else that you think people should know about video games, certain ones, certain kinds? You said single player, which really is helpful to know that, that can be just as engaging, but you don't have to worry about somebody nefarious, or anything else about video games for the holiday season.
The other thing I would want parents to know about, if your kid is asking for a video game, a specific game, the first thing I like to do is search online. What is the ESRB age rating of that game? So just like movies and TV shows all have age ratings that let us know, is this show, is this film appropriate for the children in my house? Video games also have age ratings. So you might be concerned about content. Another myth is that video games are violent. The truth is, the vast majority of games, over 80%, are rated E for everyone, E10 plus for everyone 10 and older, or T for teen. There are more sports games than there are violent games. And so if you're worried about the content of video games, which many parents are, look at that ESRB rating, make sure it's appropriate for your family, and then parental controls can also shut that down. My 11-year-old doesn't even see the games that are rated M for mature audiences because I don't want her to see them. I don't let her watch R-rated movies. I don't let her play M-rated games. That's the rule in our house. So I like to say, know what the rating is, bring the right appropriate games in for your house. There are age differences, cultural differences. Every family gets to decide what's right for them. But then let the parental controls on your console really do that hard work in telling the kids no. They're a fantastic tool. And video game industry has created all these technologies and made these investments really to give parents the power to decide what's right for their own families.
Fantastic. Aubrey, thank you very much. It's really been enlightening. I'm learning a lot, and I feel like I'm a little more empowered about my gift giving right now as I look ahead to the holidays. So really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Happy holidays.
Same to you. It's so weird to say that. Bye, Kim.
Ooh.
Hi, I'm Monty Torres of Fox 26 News on YouTube. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel, where we have loads of great content for you to choose from. And while you're here, why not click on the subscribe button right here? That way you can stay in touch with all the latest breaking news, everything news related within the Central Valley. And thank you for watching.